And as I continue, I know that some of you are also wondering why is the whole procedure referred to as locker hooking? And so I'm going to tell you why. Hi guys, my name is Mercy. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to do locker hooking. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video. So as I have already mentioned, today's video is all about locker hooking. Just in case you have not done locker hooking before and you want to begin, then this is the right video for you. So to begin with, I'll show you the materials you will need. Number one is the fabric. Number two is the pair of scissors. And number three is the locker hooking needle. The locker hooking needle is a special needle, as you can see, and I'll tell you why. When you look at one of its end, it has an eye. You can see the eye, and on the other end it has a hook. You can see. So those are the materials you will need: the pieces of fabric, the scissors, the locker hooking needle, and I forgot to mention the mesh, the plastic mesh. So I'm showing you a closer view of my materials. This is the one of my materials. It's so smooth, you can see that I can actually fold it in my palm because it has a smooth texture, whereas the other material, it has a different texture between smooth and rough, not rough and not smooth. Yeah, so this is the other piece of fabric. I'll be using both pieces of fabric because they play different roles in locker hooking. So the next step is to trim the material or the fabric into very thin strips. I'm trimming this yellow piece of fabric into thin strip. You can see that the fabric has lines on it, which will just guide me on how to trim it. And one thing that I love about my fabric, it has very many colors, which will bring a very, very, very beautiful color pattern on my canvas when I am done. Yeah. So I'm just trimming the fabric into thin strips. We have already finished trimming, and so let's get into the locker hooking business. I had already begun doing this, and so these are the pieces of fabric which were remaining. You can see that the pink strip is almost coming to an end, whereas the navy blue strip is still long enough. Yeah, and so to begin with, I'm going to teach you a very important thing. I'm going to teach you how you will be adding the strips once they have come to an end. Yeah, this is a very, very important procedure in locker hooking. You are lucky because this is the first thing I'm going to teach you while your head is still fresh, and so you'll be able to remember. So I'm going to add this piece onto the piece that is already on my project, and so the first thing that you will do, you will fold it just a little bit at the end, and then you will make a small cutting on it, or a small opening. This is the piece that has come to an end, the one that is attached to my project. You can see the small cutting or the small hole. And on the other piece which you want to add, you will also fold it a little bit on one of its end, just as you have done on the other piece. And then once you have folded it, you will make another small cutting or another small opening at one of its end. You can see the small opening or the small hole. So the two pieces have this the small opening on one of their ends. So the next procedure, you will insert the piece which you want to add on the other hole. You will insert it in the hole of the other piece of fabric, just as you can see. I just want to show you the hole so that you don't get confused. You can see that both pieces have holes on their end. So what I'm doing, the piece which I want to add, I'm just going to insert it into the hole of the other piece which has come to an end. I hope that you don't get confused. This is a very simple procedure. So I'm just inserting it. Once I've done that, I'll just pull it a little bit. Yeah, I'm just pulling it a little bit, and then the next step you will take, take the other end of the piece which you just added, and then on the opening or on the hole, you will insert the other end, as you can see. Then the next thing you will do is you will just pull it. So just pull and pull and pull and pull. So there you go, you have the two pieces joined to each other. So once you have done this, you are ready to continue with your locker hooking. So this navy blue piece is supposed to be hanging from the other side. I took it to the other side in order to take the photograph, but it's supposed to be hanging on the other side. So it is this navy blue piece, the smooth piece of fabric or the strip of fabric, which you will insert into the hole of your locker hooking needle. You can see that the locker hooking needle has a very big eye and you cannot miss it. You can see the eye, you cannot miss it. You cannot go wrong with this type of needle. So you'll just insert, or you will feed the fabric into the eye of your locker hooking needle, and you will make a knot and another knot. Once you have done this, you can see that it's so thin. I made it thin so that it will pass easily under the loops, as you are going to see in the next step that I'm going to take. So you will cut the small extension in order to make it to pass smoothly under the loops, just as you are going to see. So we are ready to begin doing locker hooking. So I'm just going to take you step by step so that you will be able to understand what locker hooking entails. So you can see that we have two strips, the pink strip under and the navy blue strip hanging on the top of the plastic mesh. Yeah, so the first step that you will take the locker hooking needle, and on the end that has the hook, you will insert it in the next hole of the plastic mesh. Once you have done that, you will put the pink strip on the hook and pull it through the hole to the upper part. So with that loop on your locker hooking needle, you will still take the needle under and pick up the pink strip again, bring it to the top once again. So these loops are still on your needle. You can see that the needle is long enough, and so it can hold as many loops as you wish. You'll put your needle again under and pick another pink strip and pull it to the top. And don't make the loops so tight, make them loose, because this other smooth navy blue piece has to pass under the loops. So you'll continue with the same procedure, inserting the needle inside the holes and picking up the pink strip and pulling it to the top. So you can see that on the underside I've already come to the part where I joined the two pieces of fabric, and you can see that I'm just continuing as normal. It won't affect any part. I've already made 4 loops, and so I'm just going to pass the navy blue strip under these loops. So you can see how the navy blue strip is just passing so smoothly under the loops, and I'm just pulling it through. Yeah, so there you go. That is what locker hooking entails. You can see that it's a very, very simple procedure. So you insert the needle and you put the pink strip on the loop. So you can see that from the end I'm just holding the pink strip between my fingers. So you just put the pink strip on the hook. Let me show you from the underside so that you can see. I'm just putting the pink strip on the hook of my needle and pulling it out of the hole to make a loop on the needle. Yeah, so that is what is going on the underside. Just putting the pink strip on the hook of the needle and pulling it out of the hole. Put the pink strip on the hook and pull it out of the hole. You can do as many loops as you wish. Let me show you what is going on under again. I'm just putting the pink strip on the hook of the needle. Just put it under the strip and pull it out of the hole. So we are almost coming to the end of this row, and I'll show you what you can do once you come to the end of the row. So I want to make 10 loops on my needle. I told you that you can make as many loops as you wish. You can see that the needle is so long and it can hold very many loops. Yeah, that is the best part about this needle. And so that makes you go at a very high speed, because once the loops are already on the needle, it's just pulling the other piece of fabric under the loops in order to hold them in place and to make them firm. You can see that we are approaching the end of this row slowly by slowly. So I've made 10 loops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So those are 10 loops. So the next thing, I'm just going to pull the navy blue strip under these loops. I'm doing this in order to hold them in place, or you can say to lock them in place. Yeah, I just love the way this navy blue strip is just passing in smoothly. You can see that it's not giving me any hard time, it's just passing in smoothly. Yeah, so there you go. And don't make it so tight. You can see that the type of mesh which I'm using is so smooth and squashy. So if you tighten the yarn, is it the yarn? No, not the yarn, the fabric which is passing under the loops, it can make it to lose the shape. The reason why I said yarn is because instead of using the smooth piece of fabric or the strip of fabric, you can preferably use yarn. Yeah, you can just use a strand of yarn, provided it just holds the loop in place. But I preferred to use another piece of fabric so that it holds the loops in place, because I thought that the piece of fabric will have more strength to hold the loops in place. Yeah, so you can see that we have come to the end, and so I'm going to do something here. I'm just going to put this yarn around the last row in order to conceal it totally. Yeah, there are different methods of how to do your edges, which I'll mention as we continue, but as for now I'll just put it over and pull it under, and then I'll just continue doing my locker hooking as normal. Yeah, so these pieces of fabric, you can see that they have different colors. I just I picked them from a tailor. They were waistcloth. Yeah, I think she was making a dress for someone, and so these are the waist pieces. So I picked them, and I decided that I could convert them into crafts. Yeah, so you can see that you can actually make these locker hooked items out of waist cloth. You don't have to buy new materials. And locker, some of you may be wondering, what am I doing or what am I up to? I should actually have mentioned this at the beginning of the video. You see, you can use locker hooking to come up with very many types of items. You can use locker hooking to come up with bracelets. You can use locker hooking to come up with journal covers. You can use locker hooking to come up with pillow covers, table mats, floor mats, very many type of things. Yeah, you can just get creative and make those items. Yeah, and as I continue, I know that some of you are also wondering, why is the whole procedure referred to as locker hooking? And so I'm going to tell you why. So this procedure is referred to as locker hooking. You can see that the word locker comes from the word lock. You know the meaning of the word lock, to lock something in place. So the whole essence is that you are making loops using fabric, and then you are using another piece of fabric to lock the loops in place, or to hold them in place, or to make them firm. So that is the whole essence where the name locker hooking comes from. Yeah, and I know that also some of you are wondering where this locker hooking came from, or where it was invented. And so as we continue, I'm going to give you a brief history of how locker hooking came to be, or where it began. Yeah, I was a history student in school, and so I just love history. I love to know where things began, and so I decided to make a research because I loved the whole idea of locker hooking, because it's a very simple procedure and you can actually come up with very many items and very beautiful crafts out of locker hooking. Yeah, so let me give you the brief history on locker hooking. So the original version of locker hooking was invented in the 1920s in the UK, in the Great Britain to be precise. But this type of locker hooking required a very expensive type of wool. Yeah. And so in the 1940s, the Americans followed suit, but probably due to the high cost of yarn, the craft never achieved great popularity here. It never achieved great popularity in America. I've told you that locker hooking was invented in the 1920s in the UK, and in the 1940s the Americans tried to do locker hooking, but because the type of yarn or the type of wool which was being used was very expensive, it did not gain popularity. And so in the 1972, the Australians found an affordable way to do this. They found an affordable way to do locker hooking, and all credits go to Patricia Benson. He was on a tour to Ireland and he saw a demonstration of locker hooking, and he became so fascinated by the crafts. So he took several hooks home to his mother, and his mother, her name was Patricia Benson. So Patricia Benson was a well-known fiber artist, and so she quickly mastered the crafts. And there's one thing Patricia realized. Patricia realized that if locker hooking was to become popular, something had to be done, or something will have to be found that could be substituted for the heavily expensive yarn that was required in order to do locker hooking. And so this is what she did. She began using unspun, freshly sheared wool. I know that most of you know that in Australia they do a lot of sheep rearing, and so they have a lot of wool. And so Patricia began using unspun, freshly sheared wool, and that is when the Australian locker hooking was born. Yeah, so I've already mentioned before that so I'm already done with the history, in case you are getting bored. I know some of you don't love history. Yeah, so I already mentioned that you can use locker hooking to make several items such as bracelets, journal covers, table mats, pillow covers, etc. And so what I'm doing here, I'm trying to make a journal cover, but I'll probably be showing you how it will come up in my next video. You know, this was my first attempt doing locker hooking, and so it will just be a trial. I really hope it turns out right, and then I'll show you in my next video how it will turn out. Yeah, you know, I'm also a student, but as I am learning, I'm also teaching you. So I'm making mistakes, and so those mistakes are very important, because you will not make the same mistakes once you do this, because you already have learned from my mistakes. Yeah. So I'm just continuing with the same procedure which I taught you before. And you can see that the pink fabric which is under is almost coming to an end, and so I'm going to repeat the same procedure which I showed you of what you do when the piece of fabric comes to an end. You take another piece of fabric and you just add to the one that has come to an end. You fold it a bit at the end and make a cutting or a small hole. And so that is what I'm going to do. The whole essence of adding these fabrics is very important in locker hooking. You have to know how to do this. If you have been listening to me when I was telling you about the history of locker hooking, I told you that it began in 1920 in Great Britain, and they were using a very expensive type of yarn. This yarn is actually available in the market. I wanted to purchase it to do this, but it's very expensive. Yeah, it's very expensive. Probably I'll be able to afford it in future, and then I'll show you how to use that wool. But right now I'll just show you how to do this using the available materials. Yeah, so I've made the cutting on the piece which I want to add on, and I've also made the cutting on the other piece that I want to add. So I'll just take that piece and insert it in the hole of the other piece. You can see that they both have small holes on their ends, so I'm just inserting it. And once I've done that, pull it a little bit, and then on the hole or in the hole, on in, wherever in the hole, I will just insert the other end. And then I will pull it. Yeah, you can see that it's stacking. I don't know why. I think one of the pieces is not very smooth. It's stuck. It has gotten stuck. I told you that I'll be making mistakes, and it's from my mistakes which you will learn, so that you don't do the same mistakes. So one of my pieces of fabric is not smooth, and so I'll just help it to pass through the hole using my fingers or using my hands. So what does that teach you? Lesson number 1. Always make the strips to be as smooth as possible, so that when you are pulling them through the holes, they won't get stuck. Yeah. So I'm just helping it to pass through the holes using my fingers, and I've already done that, and so I think it will now be able to move smoothly. I really hope so. Yeah, there you go. It is finally moving, and so we have our pieces joined together, and we can now continue with the locker hooking. The pieces have been joined together. You can see the part which I was telling you it's rough. It's the one which was making it to refuse to pass smoothly in the holes. So don't make such mistakes when you are doing this. So let's continue with the locker hooking. So you insert the needle in the hole and you pick up the pink strip, insert the needle again, pick up the pink strip, insert the needle again, pick up the pink strip. You can do as many loops as you may like, and when you look carefully on my canvas, you can see that between the pink rose, the pink rose which I'm currently making, you can, if you look keenly, very keenly, you'll be able to see that the plastic mesh is still visible. It can be seen with your naked eyes. You don't need spectacles to do this, and this is not supposed to be the case. This is a mistake, and I'll tell you what to do in order to deal with this mistake. I'll just need to go back. You see, when I come to the end of this row, I'll just go back between these two last rows with another row. I'll make another row inside there in order to conceal the plastic mesh totally. You know the reason why I'll do that. I'm not doing it for fun. I'm doing it because if the plastic mesh is exposed, I told you before that the plastic mesh which I'm using is a little bit smooth and somehow squashy. So if I leave it exposed, it will actually be destroyed. This plastic mesh which I'm using is normally not the plastic mesh which most people use when they are doing local hooking. I use this because it was available for me and it was cheap. I use very cheap materials to do my stuff. The other mesh, the hard mesh, was somehow expensive, so I didn't buy it. And when I found this, I was actually so happy because I can manipulate the results the way I want. You can see that I actually skipped a hole. You are not supposed to do this when you are doing local hooking because this cannot be undone. It can be undone, but it's a very, very hard procedure. I can't even show you how to do this, to go back in order to make sure that you insert the needle in each and every hole. It's so hard, and so I'm not going to do that. I'm not saying that it is impossible. It's actually possible to go back, but it's a very, very hard procedure. You won't like it. So I'll just continue, but I'm just showing you that when you are doing this, make sure you insert in each and every hole so that you don't need to go back. You know how it's so hard to take the needle and reverse it, like taking it back and back and back each and every loop. It's a very hard procedure, so just be careful when you are doing this. Make sure that each and every hole is taken care of. So I was telling you that this plastic mesh which I'm using is not the normal plastic mesh which people usually use when they are doing local hooking. This plastic mesh is somehow squashy, but I loved it. I'm not complaining. I loved it because it will be so easy to manipulate the end result. I can actually squeeze it. I can actually fold it into any shape which I want. I can take this the whole local hooked item and actually fold it around my flower vase. I can fold it around anything. I can actually manipulate this into anything which I want. So that is the whole point. But if you like, you can use the mesh which is hard. If you like. So we are actually proceeding very well, and when I get to the end, I'll just go back as I told you. And I know that there is also something which I'm supposed to tell you about the local hooked item. I'll be telling you that in a few. The whole idea of taking care of the local hooked items, how to wash them. I'll be teaching you that. So when I came to this point, I realized that I had skipped a hole, and thankfully I realized it so early, and so I was just able to pull out the needle and remove all the loops which I had made. Thankfully. I'm saying that because I had not passed the blue strip under the loops, because once the blue strip is under the loops, it's so hard to go back and redo everything or undo everything. So I'm just making sure that I'm taking care of each and every hole inserting in each and every hole and pulling out, as you can see. So we have come to the end, and so it is here where I'm going to teach you about how to do your edges, how to do blah blah blah, just in a few minutes to come. Just want to finish doing this row, and then I will tell you of the different types of, or the different ways of how to do your edges. Yeah, so I told you that the plastic mesh between the last two rows can be seen, and so I want to take care of them. So I'll just be going back in. You can see the plastic mesh which I'm talking about is clearly visible, and when you look on the other parts you cannot see any mesh. So that is the look which I want to achieve. So I just have to go back. Actually, it's not one row, it's that row and the other row, and so I'll just have to take care of them because I want to come up with something which can last for a long time. Yeah, so here on the edges, I told you that I'll just be taking the pink strip around, but I think there are different ways of how to take care of your edges. Yeah, there are different ways of how to take care of your edges. So edges can be finished in several ways. And so I'm just going to teach you the several ways which I'm talking about. So you can choose to finish your edges. You can choose to square them. When I say you square them, I mean that around the perimeter or around the rows of your canvas, instead of going the way I'm going, you see me, I'm going from row to row. Instead of doing that, you choose to go round and around and around, and then you come and finish in the middle. So that is one way of taking care of your edges. And then but I'm not doing that in this tutorial because of the type of mesh which I'm using. I told you it's smooth and squashy. Yeah, and so the reason why I can't do that is because at the end I might find that it will bring up a very different shape, so I prefer to just go row after row. So the other way of dealing with your edges, or another way to deal with your edges, is you can leave the outside row of holes empty until last, and then when you have finished, you will then crochet a finished edge using 1 stitch per hole. I think that is what I'll do. In this project, though I know that when I began, I was not leaving out the outer hole. You can see that I've just begun doing that on this row. I told you that I'll be making mistakes, and it's from those mistakes which me or you and me will learn from that. Yeah, from those mistakes which I'm making. I'm a student, I'm learning as I teach you. Yeah, and I also promise that I'll be teaching you how to take care of your locker hooked items. I know that some of you are thinking that locker hooked items are fragile and they can't last long, but I just want to tell you that the items can last up to 5 years and they will still be so bright, beautiful and intact. And locker hooked items are easy to take care of. You can either dry clean or wash them, and if you choose to wash them, just remember to soak and not agitate. You can gently squeeze the water out. Don't agitate it, just gently squeeze the water out. Yeah, I've taught you how to take care of your locker hooked items. And this is just part 1 of this video. I'll be doing other videos in order to continue with this lesson on locker hooking, and both you and me will be learning from the mistakes which I make. Yeah, there are not very many mistakes actually. I think I'm doing good. This being my first tutorial, or being my first attempt, I think I'm doing good. Yeah, so just leave your comments down below on what you think about this video which I've made. If you have any questions, you are free to ask me. If you have any suggestions, you are free to comment. Just comment down below. Also, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share it with your friends who you know that they may be interested about doing this type of crafts. You can actually use this. I forgot to tell you, you can do this for your wall hangings. Yeah, I told you very many items which you can come up with using locker hooking: bracelets, journal covers, pillow covers, table mats, floor mats. Yeah, all those items, yeah, with locker hooking. Yeah, so we are almost coming to the end of this video, and at this point I'm not saying that you stop watching. Watch it to the end, please. Yeah, but at this point I just want to thank you so much for your patience. I know that, and I really hope that you have learned a lot from this video. Yeah, and so it's from that I'm just asking you to leave your comments down below. What do you think about locker hooking? What do you think? What do you suggest that I do in my next video? Yeah, I really need your comments. And what do you think about the whole project which I'm doing? What do you think about it? Yeah, so just leave your comments down below. I'll be so glad if you do that. Yeah, also share my video, like it. Yeah, share and like my video. And if you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. And you will be getting very many videos on how to come up with different crafts. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe just right now. Don't say that I'll do it later. Do it right now so that you won't miss out on my videos in future. Yeah, so just pull the navy blue strip under the loops which you have made. You can see that I'm actually concealing the plastic mesh. It's not the way it was looking before. You can see that it's actually taken care of. Yeah, so that is what you usually do once you realize that some of the plastic mesh can still be seen. You just go back and take care of them, and it won't affect your project in any way. You can see how beautiful the colors are matching. Yeah, you can see how beautiful it looks. Yeah, so I think that this is what we will have for today, and we will continue with this in our next video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.